What's up, everybody? We are live right now on YouTube, Twitter, and now Rockfin, and Rumble as well. Before we get started, I had to bring my little man on so y'all can see him. My little handsome boy. Look at my little handsome boy. Look at my little handsome boy. He's a little upset right now. I woke him up from his nap so y'all can see him. And the lights a little bright for him. But his name is Lachesis, for those of you who are curious on how to pronounce it. And he's a daddy's boy, despite what he looks like right now, because I woke him up from his nap. But yeah, that's where I've been at, man. That's where I've been at. I'm sorry, guys. I was being the dad. Trying to take care of daddy things. And I was actually supposed to, so I was actually going to take maternity leave for a month at least, because, well, one, having a kid in the US is obviously a lot different than being an American having a kid in Brazil. It's a little bit more complicated and having to deal with all that, but also just trying to help out his mom and, all that good stuff. Boy, it's a lot. It's a lot. It is a lot. This boy, he weird. He got like these weird spells where, so he'll, like last night, for example, which was totally inconvenient for me, but last night he slept the entire night. Didn't wake up one time. However, the night that he sleeps all night, I can't sleep. Then he has other nights where, maybe 2 nights. There's only been 2 nights where he don't sleep at all. Like at all. But most of the time he sleeps during the day, and then like he'll wake up maybe once or twice during the night to eat. But he won't really tell you that his diaper isn't clean unless he like pissed. If he took a shit, he would just sit there like, I'll be all right. I can wait a little bit. He be taking shit. Oh my God, he sounds like a grown man. It is pure tea disgusting, people. It is disgusting. Yeah. Like he makes the face of it. But this is my little guy, man. It's my little daddy's boy. What's up? Vincent, what's going on? A. Mares, Kenneth Ellison, what's going on? What's going on? Shout out to my people on Rockfin. Let me see if we got any Rockfin people watching right now. I do have a Rumble. We're live on Rumble right now as well. If I'm not mistaken, the link might be in the description. I think it's in the description. What's up, people? We're going to give about 3 more minutes, and we're going to go ahead and get started. But for those of you who are asking the meaning of his name. So first of all, for those of you who do not know, I've explained this before, but some of you might not know, my name is Japanese. No, it is not Japanese. It's Greek. My name is Greek. It actually is the male version of the name Nike. So his name, so basically his name after the goddess Nike, and Nike means victory for the people. So, that's not where I got my email from. It's just a weird coincidence that I made my email that before I knew what my name meant. But his name is Lachesis, which means there's a lot of different meanings involving fate, but basically it means the decider of fate or the decider of destiny. So that's where his name came from. Yeah, I love it. I picked his name out a while ago, actually. I knew he was coming. You want to say hi? You want to say hi? Everybody? You want to say hi since you're awake now? Say hey. What are you looking at? This man be looking at stuff with so much intent. And I'm like, why are you studying? You're 2 weeks old. You should not be that curious. He watches TV too, which is weird. I didn't know that 2-week-olds understood the concept of TV. But yeah, he watched TV too. I'm going to take you back to your mama. All right, I'm about to take him back upstairs and we're going to go ahead and get started. Oh, baby Jesus, man was about to start crying already. Jesus Christ. Mm. All right, got my coffee. Y'all seen the baby. We got a crazy show. So you look, careful you blink, he'll be moving. I know, man. I don't know. He Brazilian, so he Brazilian in 2024, but they don't move out. I mean, you know, in the States, they don't move out because of the economy. In Brazil, they just don't move out because they don't really fucking feel like it. They just like being around. If they move out, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the culture in general in Latin America and South America specifically. If they move out, motherfuckers move across the street. They move across the street. Usually they don't move out. Like you don't move out until you're almost ready to take care of your parents around here. So we'll see how that goes. But nah, I take pictures of him every day because literally his face, his bone structure changed in 48 hours. I was like, oh no, I'm missing it. And yes, I'm talking about the boss. I'm going to talk briefly about the massacre at the music hall. Yes, I'm going to talk about that. All right. So, with that being said, I want to go ahead and get this party started. What is going on, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment of For the People podcast. Thank you so much for being here. Sorry, I was on a little hiatus in case you missed the first part of the video. Was on paternal leave. And it was actually supposed to be a little bit longer because trying to register a baby in another country that you're not from and he has dual citizenship is a bit of a process. And obviously just being a dad, wanted to enjoy my time with my son, man. It was dope. And he's up there crying right now, actually. He set me up. He's a daddy's boy. Whenever I put him down, that's what he does. So, but even though I was going to take a little bit longer off, bro, over the last like 2 weeks since my son has been born, Diddy done gone to jail. Or I don't know if he's going to jail officially, but his house has gotten raided, and it's because allegedly of sex trafficking charges. A bridge collapses. Not because it just fell, but because somebody ran into the shit. Just bleep, ran into it. And the reason why he ran into it, or why they ran into it, is even more bizarre, which we're going to get into in a second. There's a terrorist attack in Moscow, right? ISIS claimed credit for the attack conveniently. And the US that warned Russia about the terrorist attack in advance in a very specific way, which we're going to get into. Afterwards, when everybody was like, yo, man, so like, what details did y'all have about this terrorist attack before it happened, which made y'all give this advance warning about the terrorist attack in Moscow? What are you talking about? We ain't know nothing. We ain't know shit. And there was a ceasefire resolution passed by the UN Security Council. Finally, Jesus Christ. Once again, bare minimum. So we're gonna get into that too. But at least there's something on paper where Israel, which I don't believe they're gonna adhere to it. I want to be clear about that, unfortunately. But at least there's something on paper where if Israel violates it, there is no more, oh, this gray area. There's not really a gray area in genocide, but there's a gray area that they've been existing in, relying on the United States veto power in the UN so that they don't have the applied pressure officially by the international community. So, consequences. The Julian Assange hearing was today, kind of good news. We're gonna get into that too. Man, it's just a lot, bro. It's just a lot that happened over the last 2 weeks. And I'm just like, bro, I can't take another 2 weeks off. I'm not gonna be able to do it. I saw that Victoria Nuland got fired. I didn't really look much into it. I'm kind of surprised Victoria Nuland got fired. Like, what would have been the measurement, like the metric for her doing a good job? Maybe it's Ukraine. Maybe that is the metric, and maybe that's why she got fired, right? There's a good chance that that's the case, actually. But first, I want to get into this bridge collapse video. Dog, what the hell? Let's go ahead and check out this bridge video, because there are a lot of questions that I feel like need to be answered. I'm gonna give my opinion on that part, but first, I just want y'all to see the sheer destruction, because it's sad. It's sad, bro, what happened. Because personally, after reading what I've read, I'm gonna show y'all, I feel like it was perfectly preventable. Look at this. Y'all see this shit? Oh no, I gotta put it on my screen. Hold up. Oh no, y'all can see it, right? Yeah, okay, y'all can see it. Yeah, y'all see this? This is crazy. Just bloop. There were cars on the bridge. There were construction workers on the bridge. Thankfully, the crew, for the most part, is okay, right? And this, by the way, is the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland. The crew, only one person went to the hospital with injuries, and there a bunch of people missing still. They don't have accountability for everybody that was on the bridge because a bunch of cars went in. They don't know everybody who was just, you have to know who was in the cars. And so there's a bunch of people that aren't accounted for. What's weird about this is that there was actually construction on the bridge that was going on at the time. And I'm gonna tell y'all why it's weird that the construction was still going on and why there was seemingly no effort to prevent this from happening. Not prevent the bridge from collapsing, because maybe that was going to happen. Maybe that was going to happen anyway. But there is. Let me see if I can show y'all this. Can y'all see my Telegram? Let's see if I can show y'all my Telegram channel. Make sure y'all subscribe to my Telegram channel if y'all have not. That should be in the description as well. But there was this letter that came out from DHS that is things that make you go, oh, this ain't really, the conspiracies came flying as expected. So this is a letter from DHS. Overview: the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore, Maryland has collapsed after being struck by a motor vessel. There are reports of missing individuals from the bridge. The bridge was undergoing maintenance, but was open to traffic. USCG reports motor vessel Dali Singapore flag lost propulsion as it was leaving the Baltimore harbor. The vessel notified Maryland Department of Transportation that they had lost control of the vessel and an collision with the bridge was possible. Now y'all see why I say it was preventable for all these lives to have been lost. And it was weird that they were still doing construction and there's not been any reports of them trying to get people off the bridge. The vessel struck the bridge, causing a complete collapse. Construction crews were on the bridge, and approximately 20 individuals are missing and believed to be in the water. One worker was recovered from the water and his condition is unknown. The Maryland Transportation Authority reported all lanes on I-695 Key Bridge are closed in both directions. All personnel on the Dali are accounted for. One has major injuries. There's significant damage above the water line to the vessel. No significant pollution has been reported. We know that's going to be a while for if that happened. It's going to be a while for they report that. USCG stations, Curtis Bay, Annapolis assets are on scene with aircraft inbound from USCG, Atlantic City, Baltimore County Police, Baltimore City Police, MDOT, Maryland Department of Transportation, MD State Police, MD Natural Resources Police are on the scene. So, do y'all get why I said it was preventable and why this is shit? This is why people be getting frustrated. This is why people immediately like, oh man, not everything's a conspiracy theory. Well, goddamn, if everything is either a conspiracy theory or they're just fucking ignorant. They're dumb. Our system is trash, right? You could jump to either of those conclusions and it's equally as bad. That's the problem. Because this isn't a conspiracy. The DHS put this out. They knew the Maryland Department of Transportation knew in advance that this vessel had lost control Well, right after it left the port. Right after it left the port, y'all. And if that's the case, why was there not any radio chatter about this? Why are we not hearing about any police officers preventing people from crossing the bridge, right? Why didn't we hear about construction workers being evacuated? With the responses by Maryland leadership, it's even more bizarre and bewildering, to be completely honest with you. I just let me pull it up for y'all. It pisses me off because you get a sense this type of shit don't happen in like Japan. Not like this. This is at the bare minimum, y'all. This is infrastructure problems. This is what we mean when we say, why the hell are you sending money to Israel when we got shit like this happening in the US? And infrastructure, by the way, before I share this video, infrastructure does not necessarily and exclusively mean, like the parts that you spend on the bridge. Because what happens is like to build the bridge, to maintain the bridge. That's not the only thing. Infrastructure means personnel on scene, personnel at any given time, communicate, the ability to communicate effectively between the personnel that's navigating the ports versus the personnel that's actually on the water, on the train tracks. In the case of a train, we know, derailments have gone crazy. I think we just hit a record, right? That all of that is infrastructure. So you're trying to tell me basically our infrastructure is trash it's at the bare minimum. The infrastructure in the United States is trash. Somebody got to be sued. Somebody needs to be made an example of. Somebody does. This is one of the interviews with the mayor.
I want to get us to Mayor Brandon Scott, the mayor of Baltimore, who is with us right now on the phone. Mayor Scott, first of all, I just want to say that I am so sorry that your community is going through this right now and that there are families wondering and worrying about their loved ones at this hour. Can you tell me so far what you know about exactly what happened here to the Francis Scott Key Bridge?
Well, listen, we have an unspeakable tragedy. We know that this vessel struck the bridge and the bridge collapsed. There were individuals working on the bridge at that time. There are cars in the water. Our fire department has confirmed that as they lead this ongoing search and rescue mission through sonar. That is where our focus is. It's about those souls and people that we're trying to find and get out of this water. We know that there's going to be questions about the bridge and traffic and the port. But right now, everyone in this world's focus should be about these souls and those families who are wondering if these people are going to walk back in the door after they walked out to work last night.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The anxiety of all this, and then plus just watching the video of what happened and how quickly the bridge failed. Can you give me some sense of what you thought at first light this morning when you saw the pictures of actually what that bridge looks like with the barge slammed into it there? What were your initial thoughts?
Well, it was something out of an action movie. It's something you never think you would see. And being here right now, looking at it, is even more surreal. And it just makes you think about, again, those families, those individuals that were on that bridge, those folks that even on that vessel, even more, because no one should have to endure. And I'm going to be the first to ask that CNN and everyone else stop showing the video. No one needs to see a possibility of their family member being severely injured or otherwise over and over and over again, because it's just traumatizing our community.
Fair enough, Mayor.
Nah, it's not though. Don't get me wrong. He is right. Like, the concern should be for the family members. I agree with that. I believe all their resources right now at this very moment should be dedicated to find those people, making sure people can get home. But there's a caveat to that. We need some accountability. You are the mayor, sir. what he just got up here and told us. We don't know anything, or at least you're not going to divulge anything. Even though you got the DHS report coming out telling us they already done revealed some of the facts. Don't you think it would have been pertinent to at least address the facts about the DHS report? Like, but you are even acknowledging those facts exist, and you're like, yeah, but that's not a point right now. Oh no, it is. It absolutely is. Because if one of my family members died on that bridge, and I found out through a DHS report, not through the mayor giving an interview, but through the DHS report that came out, that this was all preventable, then it is absolutely something I want to know about. And that is absolutely a question that you should be asking. I want to show you this other interview that he did that made me be like, bro, this is just stop. Don't get, and I'm going to tell y'all why I got a problem with it. Specifically, after y'all listen, and y'all probably agree, because sometimes you just got to know when to shut up.
I'm in awe of everything you do for each and every one of us. I'm in awe of your strength. I'm in awe of everything you do for each and every one of us. You saw a crisis, and you said, what can I do to help? And our response teams are doing everything in our power to rescue and recover the victims of this collapse, literally as we speak. People who, as we speak, are out there, are divers, are air assets. People who right now are working to save lives and are doing it because the state asked. And we will update the public as the work continues.
But okay.
To our partners inside and outside of government, I know this has been a long night. We started coordinating immediately after the Key Bridge collapsed.
Maybe it should have started before the bridge collapsed.
From our
yeah,
tiny
you
leadership.
think about it, he said we started coordinating immediately after the bridge collapsed. Well, motherfucker, maybe you should have started coordinating before the bridge collapsed and we wouldn't have this situation. So that's why we don't want to hear, oh, don't ask us about the details. The details are as important as the result, the conclusion. Because we need to know how we got here. We need to know why there was no coordination, or at least tight coordination, prior to the bridge collapsing. This is why I say I need to watch this interview, because it's like, what is he talking about?
To our city leadership, to our state leadership, to our federal leadership. And I'm grateful to call each and every one of you not just colleagues, but I'm grateful to call you friends.
What the?
And to the people of Baltimore, and each and every one of the 6.3 million Marylanders who call our state home. I recognize that many of us are hurting right now. I recognize that many of us are scared right now. And so I want to be very clear about where everything stands. We are still investigating what happened.
This man think he's Obama. He think he Obama.
But we are quickly gathering details. The preliminary investigation points to an accident. We haven't seen any credible evidence of a terrorist attack. Our administration is working closely with leaders from all.
I do want to be clear about something, y'all. That's super weird. That's the first place they went to. That is super weird that the first place that we're still conducting an investigation, but and you know we ain't seen a lot, but I'm just letting y'all know it ain't a terrorist attack, so don't say that. And no, you should. It's like with Moscow, right? Everybody, all of U.S. officials are talking about what didn't happen, what they know for absolute certainty did not happen in Moscow, while simultaneously saying, but we don't know what happened in Moscow. We don't know what y'all talking about. And the fact that Russia isn't working with them at all, but all of a sudden they know exactly who it was. It had nothing to do with Ukraine. It wasn't a terrorist attack, that's for sure. Well, if you're conducting an investigation and you don't have the details or conclusive evidence of anything, right? How you gonna come out? And you don't give no other details, bro. You don't want to give any other details, but you want to come out and confirm something that you literally started off the conversation by saying, yeah, we can't really confirm anything, but I'm gonna confirm this. And you wonder why people are all over Twitter saying, bro, this is smelling some bullshit, right?
levels of
And I don't blame them. I tend now, in my older, wiser years, to lean more towards the conspiracy. I do. I tend to lean more towards the conspiracy of terrorist attacks, of the fact that the U.S. is probably behind it in some way, form, or fashion, like that something like this could have been done. It could have been done on purpose, that it is very plausible that it was done on purpose. And you have to convince me otherwise now, because we're all fully aware, everybody who's been paying attention over the last 3, 4, 5, well, there's some people who've been paying attention a lot longer than that, but anybody who's been paying attention the last 3 or 4 years, yeah, we know that the U.S. is more than willing to sacrifice its own people if it means they can control the narrative, right? So, like, the fact that you come out and start your conversation off with, we know it wasn't a terrorist attack. Whoa, bro, wait a minute, bro. You just took it from 0 to 100 there, didn't you? Who mentioned the terrorist attack? Reporters didn't ask about that. Well, all right, bro.
government and society to respond to this crisis, and not but just by addressing the immediate aftermath, but also by building a state that is more resilient and a state that's more safe. That is our pledge, and that's our commitment, and we're going to keep that commitment. And lastly, to the victims of this tragedy and their loved ones, all of our hearts are broken. We feel your loss. We're thinking of you, and we will always be thinking of you. We pray for the construction workers who are on the Key Bridge, and we pray for everyone who has been touched by this tragedy and their families and all of their loved ones. But Maryland, we will get through this, because that is the Maryland spirit, and that's what Maryland is made of. We are Maryland tough, and we are Baltimore strong. So in the face of heartbreak, we come together. We embrace one another, and we come back stronger. That's what we've always done. That's what we'll continue to do. And that's what we're going to get done together.
Fire your fucking speechwriter, bro. Fire him. Fire your speechwriter. Jesus Christ. Maybe he wrote it himself. I don't know. But, okay, now maybe y'all understand why I'm so frustrated about this dude. First of all, what did he say in that whole speech, y'all? What did he say? I'm being so serious. You're the mayor of Baltimore. Your bridge collapsed with construction workers and cars on it. You're giving your first interview about this situation, and you give a bunch of nothing and more nothing and condolences and this theater speech, right? Like this I guess it's supposed to be a feel-good speech. Like he thought he was gonna go viral for it. Like boy thought he was going, like he acted like he was trying to launch his presidential campaign with that shit. We're Maryland tough and Baltimore strong. No, the fucking problem is the goddamn bridge wasn't Maryland tough and Baltimore strong. That's what we need to be discussing. You're gonna come out here and tell me that you can designate an interview with CNN to talk about what they shouldn't be showing. God forbid we shouldn't be telling CNN to stop showing anything, because they will take the opportunity to not show some shit they need to show if given to them. We all know that. That's the last thing you need to do, but whatever. You don't want to give any details. When the mourning, obviously he should probably talk about that. That's he's leaders doing what leaders do in tragedy. But I just showed y'all, right? In case y'all missed it, I just showed everybody there is a DHS report about what took place, at least what we know right now. Official documentation. Why did you get up here and give a speech? Why did you get up here and give a speech before you had the details? In an interview like that, so here's the thing, man. When you're a leader, there are times. What makes a great leader is the ability to discern, right? Discernment. There are times where you do have to flow with your constituency and give them what they want. And there's other times where you have to have discernment and know I can't do the mob thing right now. And they might be a little upset about it. Somebody might call me and yo, you got to say something. You got to say something. You got like, and sometimes that's tougher to do because people are going to be pissed if you don't come out and say exactly what they want to hear right away. But sometimes it's better shut the hell up until you get the details if you don't have them yet. It's better than this. It's better than this. Are you hoping that if you ignore the details long enough that they're going to disappear? I mean, there was construction on the bridge. I don't know what the construction was for. I can't speculate entirely. But I can tell you this, bro, that damn bridge crumbled like paper. And I don't know if you all saw the letter, and I don't want to misquote it. It said that the vessel struck the bridge, causing complete collapse. But they lost propulsion as it was leaving Baltimore. Allegedly, that's what they say. The DHS reported that they called somebody, said we lost propulsion. For those of you who don't know what that means, it means we can't go forward fast. We are not going forward on purpose. It's just we're in a drift now. We're in a drift. Right? It started with propulsion, but then they lost it. And yet and still, allegedly going dumb slow with no propulsion, this bridge folded like paper. So maybe the conspiracy is, yet and still, we have an infrastructure problem. Your state, your city, this bridge was one of those bridges that had a problem with the infrastructure that you probably haven't addressed. Y'all know how bad infrastructure has been. And this is why, once again, you get people like Candace Owens who magically will get a bunch of issues wrong, but then get issues right. Like, why are we sending so much money to Israel and Ukraine, where we have infrastructural issues right here in the States? Y'all know, for example, train derailments. As of October 2023, the Federal Railroad Administration has recorded 742 train derailments. The most publicized of these happened on February 3rd, 2023, when the Norfolk Southern freight train carrying hazardous materials derailed in East Palestine, which y'all remember, Ohio. Okay. A month after that's when they finally decided to pass or introduce, the Railway Safety Act of 2023. Y'all know it wasn't even a month I think it was a little bit over a month ago. There was a bridge in Pittsburgh that collapsed. Did y'all know about that? Yeah, there was a bridge in Pittsburgh that collapsed. You know what the principal reason why it collapsed? It said it was maintenance. It was communication amongst personnel. It was maintenance. It was communication amongst personnel. And this is the bridge in Pittsburgh I'm talking about. In other words, it was infrastructure. Now, no mayor wants to stand up here in front of a camera and say, yep, we weren't allocating the money that we needed to secure this bridge. And perhaps he knew. Nobody. What's crazy is you might have even got off scot-free because I don't want to shoot the messenger. If he would have come up here and just told the whole truth and nothing but the truth, hey man, this is what we know right now. Or better yet, before you got the truth, maybe you don't really have all the facts. You want to make sure before you get out here in front of millions of people and talk. Hey y'all, I'm gonna give this. I'm not taking questions right now. The reason why is because we don't know the facts, and I don't want to mislead anybody, misconstrue the facts, throw anybody under the bus until we know all the details. Thank you very much. I'll let you know when I have more. What the fuck is so hard about that? What is so hard about that, y'all? What is so hard about that? There's nothing difficult about that. But instead, he came up here and did this nonsense. Like, what? We don't have the facts right now. We still have to investigate, but we know it wasn't a terrorist attack. Okay, that's super weird. That's evil. Once again, that's weird that he went there. Because my first thought this morning when I saw the bridge collapse, I promise you, y'all, it was not that it was a terrorist attack. That was not the first thought I had. I know that some people like we're not, they were like jokingly mentioning, but they were like, maybe it's not like something that you can just, dismiss out of hand. Like, I get that, but like nobody was waking up like, yeah, this is definitely a terrorist attack. And then he says that. And now everybody's like, well, shit, now I got to look into it. And allegedly, the captain was Ukrainian, which is like weird and coincidental. That's what the reports are saying, that the captain was Ukrainian of this particular vessel, that he was Ukrainian. And it is like, after the U.S., which we're going to talk about, votes to abstain with this ceasefire, and the UN passes the ceasefire for Ramadan, you got the situation with Netanyahu, where he decided, which we're going to talk about too, to just say, we're not going to go to, they were supposed to meet with the U.S. officials this weekend. They canceled the trip, y'all. They canceled the trip over this. Angry as hell because of an abstention for a temporary ceasefire. They wanted the U.S. to veto it. And then like all this other stuff going on with Ukraine. I mean, pick a day, any day. There's always something going on with Ukraine. And everybody knows that Ukrainians are like, now you see how shit rolls downhill? Now, because you wanted to start off with this, we know it wasn't a terrorist attack. Now everybody's like, bitch, you projecting. You are projecting. And it's very plausible. It could be, I want to be very clear about this. It is equally plausible for it to be infrastructure, an inside job, or a terrorist attack. It is equally plausible for all three of those things. And you know what could have ended all speculation, or at least subdued it a little bit, is if you would have just waited or read the DHS report and said, these are the facts we have right now. Somebody's going to be held accountable. There will be consequences. Somebody dropped the ball. We're going to find out who it is. We're going to make sure that everybody gets justice. We're going to make sure that everybody that can be saved will be saved. And we're going to take care of the families that were affected by it. But this act, this horrible impression of Obama, y'all. And what he said, which was nothing, he really didn't say anything. He asked people to stop. He asked news organizations to stop showing the video because the families don't want to see it, bro. Don't speak for them. And then you're gonna blame it on, or you're not gonna blame it on terrorists. You're gonna say we haven't investigated because it's still under investigation. We don't have the details yet, but we know it wasn't a terrorist attack. Like, this is why people have all these conspiracies about what's going on. Because nothing is, once again, we're in a situation where nothing is adding up. Why the DHS releasing this statement and you are giving interviews, not even acknowledging the details of the statement? Makes you wonder, right? All right, people. That's enough about the Baltimore Bridge right now. Little baby juice. Make sure if y'all want to support the show, you can donate through Patreon, Super Chat, Cash App. All that stuff is in the description. I want to move on to the ceasefire, y'all. Y'all know that the United Nations passed a ceasefire resolution for Gaza. It's only supposed to last a month. It's only supposed to be for the month of Ramadan so that they can pray, fast, worship in peace. First of all, this is a good thing. Before we go into the pessimism, unfortunately, this is a good thing. Because it's not that I expect Israel to follow the ceasefire. I don't expect that, unfortunately. But it's because of what the U.S. did that makes you go, Everybody knows in order for the resolution to have passed, the U.S. had to do one of two things: vote for the resolution or abstain from it. They voted to abstain, right? What that means is they defied their masters, right? That's what that means. That means that they defied their masters. We know who really runs the United States. And what happens to politicians all over the world, not even just the US, but definitely the US, specifically the US. What happens to politicians that defy their masters in Israel? They don't really stay politicians for very much longer for a plethora of reasons. They destroy your credibility. They will literally redistrict you out of your seat, like they did to Cynthia McKinney in Georgia, right? But there's something that has been taking place. It isn't just this ceasefire resolution that like just magically made the United States say, oh, we're going to abstain and it's cool, whatever, and deliberately defy Israel. It's because of the PR problem that Israel has now. Because this isn't the first, I won't call it adversarial move from the US when it comes to Israel, but it is definitely the first, it isn't the first move that contradicts the absolute loyalty Israel demands from the United States. For example, y'all know Chuck Schumer. Chuck Schumer is probably one of the biggest Zionists in the United States Senate. Chuck Schumer came out condemning Bibi Netanyahu. Not even like a week ago. Yeah. Yes, sir. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find exactly what he said. Let me see if I can find it for y'all. So Netanyahu, it said Chuck Schumer took a stock of splash he made a few days before, where in a speech on the Senate floor, he had branded Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel a major impediment for peace in the Middle East, called for elections to replace him as the war winds down. Do y'all, that bro, he just called for a regime change, effectively. I mean, that is what it is, basically. He called for a regime change in Netanyahu. And if Chuck Schumer signals that what does that mean? Because we know how the Chuck Schumers and the Nancy Pelosi, like we know what they represent. They don't really represent themselves. They represent the interests of the powers that be. And if Chuck Schumer is saying, yeah, nah, you got to go. He don't say that lightly. That's the stuff. He says that about Assad, right? He said that about Gaddafi. Now, these are obviously not the same type of people, not the same type of leaders, and for different reasons. But ultimately, it's to protect the interests of the U.S. and the elite. If he is saying that, someone, and I would even go as far to say that whoever is giving the green light for this is a Zionist. Those who are deciding that it's okay now to go after Israel and go after Netanyahu and call out the genocide. I would even go as far as to say that these are Zionists that are saying this, that are giving the green light. Joe Biden came out and attacked Netanyahu. Hell, they even gave AOC permission to go on CNN and call it a genocide. Real talk. Let's see if I can find a video. But yeah, gave AOC permission to go on CNN and call it a genocide. Which y'all remember there was she was walking down. Oh, she was leaving a movie theater and people were like, yo, why won't you call it a genocide? And then even in her defense of herself not calling it a genocide, she still refused to call it a genocide. She was like, that word. Here we go. I found it. Yay. Pull it up for y'all. I want that one with this one.
So in the House of Representatives, House Speaker Mike Johnson is facing a real revolt within the Republican Congress.
Oh, that ain't this one. It isn't this one. My bad. Let me find it for y'all. Is it? Oh, actually, I think it is.
to cut off U.S. military aid. Full speech on the House floor Friday about the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. You called on President Biden to cut off U.S. military aid to Israel. I think we have a clip of part of what you said. Let's roll that.
If you want to know what an unfolding genocide looks like, open your eyes. It looks like the
Unfolding.
forced famine of 1.1 million innocents. We must write our story in this moment of what it means and who we are as Americans. And our story must be not that we were good men who did nothing.
Now, clearly, not enough aid is getting in. Clearly, the conditions for the Palestinian people are horrific and much more needs to be done. Genocide is a word that has serious and specific connotations and allegations. It's defined by the intent to destroy in whole or in part a national, ethnic, racial, or religious group. So you, just to clarify here, you believe the Israeli military, the Israeli government are actively trying, they intend to destroy the Palestinian people, and not that what's
the Israeli government believes it.
Israel is going after the terrorists of Hamas who attacked them on October 7th, and Hamas embeds within the civilian population?
Well, Jake, you're absolutely right. This word is extremely serious. It's one that's taken with extraordinary gravity. And to me, the threshold of intent is a high one. It is a serious one and is not one that is made lightly. However, when we look at the precipice of what is happening with a forced famine of 1.1 million Gazans, where multiple governments, NGOs, and even officials within the United States State Department have stated themselves plainly that the Israeli government and leaders in the Israeli government are intentionally denying, blocking, and slow walking this aid and are precipitating a mass famine.
So I love something that Compton J said yesterday off of RBN. Shout out to RBN. Before we go back into this PR thing, y'all notice that she keeps wanting to bring up famine, right? Which is happening, we know, right? She keeps wanting to bring up famine. Why isn't she bringing up the weapons? Huh? Hell, Jake Tapper started out the conversation by talking about how there's been discussion of preventing more military aid to Israel. Why? Like, that's under the context of famine? Why is it that people like AOC and others who have recently jumped back on, in some cases, the genocide train? Why y'all bringing up famine? Yeah, that's part of it. But hell, they've been denying aid to Palestinians for a while now. This isn't even new. Let's talk about why they're famine. Let's talk about the people who are getting killed for trying to get aid that's being sent their way. Talk about the people getting sniped down, y'all, shot down, trying to pick up their aid. Why is she bringing that up? She's like, they're being prevented. They're being killed. How can you have so many refugees in a singular location for you to deliver aid to them if they can be shot down? Oh, because their homes were bombed. Why were their homes bombed? Because the U.S. gave them aid. How did they get aid and weapons? Because the U.S. Congress voted to send it their way. And who was part of those votes? People like AOC. That's exactly right. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's why she don't want to say military. Because they're going to be like, damn, military, hey, that's crazy. Let me see who voted for this shit. Because we know what this is really about, right? I think y'all ain't stupid. Oh, my audience, I know you ain't stupid. Elections are coming. The elections are coming. The elections are coming. In Michigan, y'all remember I did that video about the Michigan primary, about how Joe Biden in one precinct got beat by undecided or not undecided. I think it was undecided or something like that. Basically, it's undecided. But it's something you have to deliberately vote for. Saying we don't want Trump, but it was a Democratic primary, so it was like, yo, we're not voting for you. Right? Hell, and that same person beat like Mary Williamson and them in multiple counties. But nah, yeah, Joe Biden lost. And it won't like a little bit, y'all. Well, hundreds of thousands. And the margin for error in Michigan is nil for a Democrat. And no Democrat since Barack Obama. Oh, no, excuse me. Even Barack Obama. No, he had to win too. Who was it? Was it Bill Clinton? I want to say it was Bill Clinton. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure it was Bill Clinton. That was the last Democrat to have won an election without winning Michigan. And those votes have always been decided by 50,000 here, 60,000 there, 75,000 here, 50,000, less than that in other cases. So I'm committed. Thank you, Kimberly. Appreciate you. And it was because of those who united together and said, we're not going to vote for Joe, because that precinct that he lost, primarily Arabs. Yep. And they all said, nah, fuck you. And then whenever people saw how successful that effort was, they started mobilizing around the country. And the elections are coming. And that's why they're changing their tune. So there's a combination of like, y'all know how much shit we got for challenging. How long? I got a lot of ride or dies here. Right? We've had this show. Well, not this show, but a show for almost 10 years now. That's crazy, right? A lot of y'all been around for 10 years, man. Y'all see me. I couldn't grow a beard. Then I finally got a beard, and now my beard's all gray, and I got dreads, and I got a child. Like, that's how long y'all been around. Y'all, how much shit do we get for saying we need to call Democrats, we need to challenge them? Because if you don't challenge them, they're going to do what the hell they want to anyway. But now you don't have a record of challenging them on what you don't have a record on challenging them about what they claim they were going to do or what they've already done, right? The promises they haven't lived up to. And you're not putting any pressure on them. Like, you're not threatening them with consequences if they fuck up again. They're like, oh, you could spend on your time. Why do I need to spend? We know what Republicans are doing. I'm a leftist, right? I'm an independent leftist. Some people describe me as a libertarian, socialist, social libertarian, whatever. But y'all know exactly where I stand on 98% of Republicans, and the exceptions to those rules and rare occasions I talk about. Why do I need to get up here and tell you Republicans don't give a shit about the working class when they've made it very clear? They don't even try to pretend like they're for the working class. They say they're for the economy, and that's about it. Economy, we know what economy means. We know what they mean about that means elites. The 1%. We challenge this because of this issue with Palestine. We've learned something. Yeah, we were right the whole fucking time. That's what happened. That's what we learned. That is what we learned. Oh man, I haven't checked out that conversation with Marianne Williamson and Bree yet. I'm gonna check it out though, and I'm probably covering tomorrow. We learned that we were right. When the Democrats are actually threatened from the left about a particular issue, even foreign policy, this isn't even a domestic issue. It's a foreign policy issue. Honestly, I did not. Y'all got to remember, like Israel's never had bad PR. Israel has never had bad PR. Y'all know that? And Palestine don't even get PR. They never mention Palestine. They mention Hamas. They would mention Hezbollah. They would mention the PLO sometimes. Like, they don't even say the word Palestine. They don't even they say Gaza Strip. They don't even say Gaza. They don't even talk about the West Bank. They say Hamas, PLO, Hezbollah, whatever. This is the first time Israel's ever had negative blowback. This is the first time Palestine actually gets mentioned to the degree it does. You know why? Because people decided, fuck the Democrats. What the hell? If this ain't the line, if genocide isn't the line, how the hell are we gonna get anything done? How are we gonna get anything that we're voting for them to get? The answer is you're not. And we've been telling y'all that. Where y'all remember how many debates did I do right here in this very show? Well, actually, it was MCSC. It was Mikasa Sukasa back then. But how many right here on this very camera? And I sat there and I said, they're like, what's the worst thing that can happen with Trump? I'm like, we already know what the worst thing that can happen with Trump is. You know what the worst thing that can happen with Joe Biden? Fucking genocide, a border crisis, and World War III. And goddamn it, if we're not 2.5, we're 2 out of 3. We're 2.5 out of 3 right now. We're this close to World War III. If really, and some people, rightfully so, probably consider it World War III already. It's already kicked off. This man bold enough to challenge, like when you bolstered Ukraine, you threatened Russia with war. That is what you did. Trump was not an idiot. He was not stupid enough to do that. He was dumb enough to sanction Russia. That was a dumb move. He was only doing it because of the neocons in both parties that were convincing him to do so because he wanted to appear as if he wasn't a Putin puppet, whatever. But he wasn't dumb enough to bolster Ukraine with weapons and money, which once again is this, you're threatening war with Russia. But Joe Biden did immediately. And I was warning people about this. I was like, y'all do know this whole impeachment situation is about Ukraine. And the first thing I talked about on election, the next day, once we knew about the results of the election, I said, bro, Ukraine about to get crazy. That's the first thing I said. I said, I don't know why I feel compelled to say this, because for a lot of people, Ukraine was the last thing on people's minds. But you know, nothing in the U.S. government, no official proceedings happen for no reason when it's that type of coordination that we saw during that impeachment hearing. When we saw Zelensky wasn't even given the opportunity to testify because they didn't want people to know what was really happening in that situation. That Trump actually never threatened him, and that it was Joe Biden that actually had all the connections. The Obama administration that had all the connections within Ukraine, and that was the root. Those are the sources of the corruption. They didn't want that. I just knew. I'm like, this shit about to get crazy in Ukraine. And look what happened. And when we were telling people the Democrats are full of shit, you don't have to like Trump to acknowledge the Democrats are full of shit. They was coming at us crazy. They was telling we must be Republicans if we want the Democrats to do what we asked them to do, to be who they claim that they are. Right? That's all we ask. You ain't got to do the most. Just be who you say you are. Be the party of the working class. Fake it. Fake it till you make it. And we were like, yo, if they get power and y'all haven't really asked for shit, because that's what basically happened. That's what was my biggest gripe about Bernie when he came. I'm like, bro, you got this whole position in the Senate, one of the most powerful positions in the Senate, and he ain't do shit with it. Dude, he didn't do not a goddamn thing. Oh, no, he did the opposite of that. He did everything Joe Biden wanted, which is basically what the neocons wanted, but with less complaints. So that election, what did we get from the Democrats in the 2020 election? No concessions on foreign policy. Why? Because they didn't have to, because they just kept screaming Trump and people defended them. Trump is worse, Trump is worse, Trump is worse. So we can't really hold them accountable is what you're saying? No, because Trump is worse. Well, yeah, but the facts actually say, fuck the facts, Trump is worse. That's what they were telling us, bro. We got no concessions on foreign policy. We got we got the opposite of concessions on foreign policy. They blew that shit all the way up. We got no concessions on domestic policy. But Bernie Sanders got a nice little position in the Senate, right? Some people won elections. And the country is worse now than it's been in the entirety of my existence in my 35 years. The world is probably in a worse state that it's been since World War II. Except for everybody didn't have nukes in World War II. Okay? I don't even see a fucking path forward right now, which is very, very rare for... I'm a very optimistic person, y'all, but I don't even see a path forward because that's how bad things have gotten since 2020. And all of a sudden, we fast forward to what we're seeing, a ceasefire. Now, and the only reason that ceasefire temporary likely will not be upheld by Israel, but the only reason that ceasefire has come to pass is because the U.S. sat the fuck out. They said, hey, man, look, BB, we can't do it, dog. We can't do it. What? Okay, shit. But in order for that to happen, the Joe Biden administration had to give the go-ahead. Y'all know that. That's how the UN situation works. Joe Biden's administration had to tell them it was okay to ignore Israel for the first time in the history of Israel. Oh, except for that time that they kind of got ignored and then they assassinated the leader who was going to bridge the gap between Palestine and Israel. Other than that, but first time in my life. They ignored Israel. And they're probably going to feel consequences for that in some ways. But the Democrats are now coming out and calling out and condemning Netanyahu. They're calling it a genocide. They're framing it a little weird, but they're calling it a genocide. We might, we might get consequences. We're going to see, but that's a whole different conversation. But my point is, with a coordinated effort, the Democrats got pushed right before the elections because people didn't give a shit if you wanted to criticize them for calling out Joe Biden. They didn't give a shit about that but Trump shit. That was dead. Trump had a lot of problems. He didn't oversee a genocide in real time and pretended like he didn't see the shit. Right? At least that. So that but Trump shit went out the window. And look what we got. People hearing words like genocide from AOC. But AOC do this weird shit where I got friends in New York, right? So like she'll go to these little rallies where there's no mainstream media cameras, and then she will call it a genocide sometimes, like and act like she's for the Palestinian people. But then when she would get in front of Congress or when she would get in front of the mainstream media, she refused to call it a genocide. That was the problem. And then obviously her votes didn't say genocide either. Her votes kept saying, go send some weapons to kill these poor Palestinian people. That's what her vote said. But now she's boldly calling it a genocide. I wonder why that is. Do you think, ladies and gentlemen, that if the Democrats' votes weren't going to be affected, that they would change? And do you think that their votes would be affected if people weren't spending all day calling them out? We know that that's the case. We know that y'all think that the Democrats agree with the Republicans on this TikTok ban shit, which is not really a TikTok ban bill. It's a ridiculous level of censorship, and we don't want nobody to have any influence over shit bill, especially this Israel situation. Do y'all think that the Democrats would agree with the Republicans on this TikTok bill if they weren't being as affected by it as the Republicans are? Because even Republicans are being affected by it, but they've always, they've been for this TikTok ban situation. It's a Trojan horse, but they've always been for it. Because they saber rattle about China all the time. But now Democrats are like, yeah, us too, people. Why do you think that is? Because they're like, shit, bro, this is really affecting our bottom line. And they're realizing, shit, it's the debt that really Israel can't pay, because if they pay the debt, they're just paying us with our own money. You're not even paying. Like if Israel, like, yo, man, we could pay y'all for y'all to be on the right side. Well, hold on, how the hell you gonna do that? It's our money that y'all gonna be paying us with. The math don't matter there, huh? I see somebody talking about Alex Jones. Yeah, Alex Jones, he came out. He came on Twitter and was doing the booty scoot for Israel. Doing the booty scooty for Israel when he was hopping, shucking, driving. Boy, he was quick, radical Islamist. And then a couple weeks ago, switched it up. Hey, man, Zionist, Israel. Yeah, even Alex Jones came back on the train. Y'all see that man, Elon Musk, he looked real quiet now about Zionists. That's all I'm saying. You know why? PR. For some reason, they believe that the tide has changed so much that there will not be consequences for standing up to Israel. That is because of you guys. Because the people who are brave enough to challenge the issue, regardless of regardless of the way people responded, because you knew it was fucking right. Because you knew it was right. And I got to give credit to both my leftist friends, but also my conservative friends who've been just as fervent in calling this issue out. Like, won't get anything else right, but still we'll get this shit right. I don't say anything else, but they'll get this one right. Right? Like, obviously Candace Owens got this one right, like in the most basic context, she got it right. Like, really, she had the most tepid criticism, and like Zionists lost their shit. See what happens? You see what happens, Candace? You see what happens. They like you when you're criticizing your own people, but you're still black. Just like that, gone. You decided to think for yourself on one issue that didn't involve black people or white people or race or gender roles. You decided to think on one issue and they gone. You forgot girl, you forgot who you was? You're black. Yeah, that's what they do. Don't get it twisted, Candace. I don't want you to think that like that's exclusively a Republican thing. That's not a conservative or Republican thing. That is unfortunately a life in this space thing. That's an elite thing. It's a Zionist thing. But yeah. Hell, Sage still went through something similar back in the day, about a year or so ago. Or she left allegedly by choice. But yeah, that's what happens. They gotta remind you sometimes, you black still. She was, I hate it, ironically, she was a DEI hire, right? For both TP USA, Turning Point USA, and Daily Caller. And they love you when you going to get your own people. But the moment you try to stick up for those who don't have anybody to stick up for them, look. And I hope she learned her lesson. I really do. I really, truly do. I don't like anybody staying stupid forever, especially when you got that type of audience. Lauren Chen, I would consider her a libertarian. Lauren Chen has been fantastic on that. She's been a little bit more forceful and unrelenting on her support of the Palestinian people and her criticism of Israel. Because she's like, this is a black and white issue. I don't understand how you can get this issue wrong. She even went as far as to say, y'all want to, she was talking about the framing of Palestinians. She was like, conservatives swear to God that they aren't prejudiced when they're constantly talking about Islamic extremists, like painting all Muslims as radicals. And then she's like, but look at the way y'all are framing all Palestinians. She said this on Twitter. She's like, look at the way y'all framing all of them as radical jihadists. And y'all wonder why people don't think y'all racist as shit. I was like, oh shit, ooh. Let me go ahead and sip some of my tea. This is getting good. For real. But y'all, like, what we're seeing, what this is showing me is that look at what happens whenever the major names unite on an issue, because not the side, not the party, not the fucking duopoly, not the partisan bullshit, not the issues of distraction, because we know there's a lot of those that like abortion, for example, that as of right now is basically determined by state in other states, and even the states that pass bullshit abortion laws, they know they're going to get sent to the Supreme Court, but everybody wants to talk about it like it's going to be like not those type of issues. Talking about like life or death. Those type of issues, there have been so many people that have united on the issue, were willing to challenge their own parties, their own, the people who claim to align with them and their values, their ideologies. They were willing to challenge those people instead of pointing the finger at the other side all the time. They're like, hold up, let me, I'm over here talking shit about your house. Let me make sure my house clean real quick. Let me make sure my room is spotless before I go over there and judge your crib. And look at what happened. Look at what happened. We can learn a lot from this Palestine situation. I really hope that we do going forward. Y'all see, like, and I hate to keep ranting about this shit, but there's been so much shit that I've been looking at the last 2 weeks about. Bro, the right is in shambles right now. It's like half of the right had no idea that the majority of their ideas were coming from Zionists. And like, they're finding out right now, hold up, we got to answer to them. It's like, that's what they're finding that shit out in real time. And they're like, I know for a fact, a lot of people, a lot of conservatives, they like big name conservatives, they actually, they love Candace. Like they like Candace. They believe that she's a very genuine person. Whether or not I agree with her all the time, like they could not believe that Ben had the audacity to fire her over this shit. They were like, hold up. This is cancel culture Ben who blames everything about, he says cancel culture is a liberal thing. It's a Democrat thing. It's a leftist thing. It's da 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 da. And then literally tries to cancel Candace. And all of a sudden they're seeing Ben Shapiro and Destiny on the same side of an issue. And like, huh? And mind you, Destiny complains about cancel culture. And they're like, hold up, what? So that shit was, she was really a DEI hire. And the moment she stepped up to design this, she had her own opinion on an issue. Like, now, bye, peace. So the right is, they're having like an internal war of their damn selves, and good. We had our internal war with the left, and kind of still having it, but not like anybody taking TYT serious like that, right? I don't think we're still having an internal war. I mean, like, they're still bitching, like, it's still trying to protect the elite. And we've all figured them out by now. They don't have any real. They don't have any real, like, Chang tried to run for president and I forgot. And so I just brought it up again right now. Sparky, thank you for the super chat. When security was too tight to attack in time to disrupt Russian elections, Nuland told them to wait until things cool off, then go for it. What? Wow, I missed that shit. That's crazy. No idea. Friend of the show, Victoria Nuland and her Nazi minions are behind the terrorist attack in Moscow. That part, not that surprised about. Yeah, the Crisis King thing that's going on. Some people say it's a psyop. Maybe it is, but like, why is saying Christ is King anti-Semitic, bro? Man, you talking about proud Jews all over Twitter right now. Proud Zionists. You can say I'm a proud Zionist knowing that Zionism means taking someone else's fucking land that you feel entitled to because of your religion, even though that doesn't really add up with the actual facts about the situation. But when someone says Christ is King because that is what they actually believe, that is somehow an anti-Semitic dog whistle, bro. And that's something that you should be taken off Twitter for? Bro, Zionists are getting not Zionists, excuse me, conservatives are getting the same wake-up call. They're getting a wake-up call like, damn, I didn't realize how many people were faking. Yeah, it's just that y'all, it's easy to pretend to like each other when you're all getting money, right? You're all trying to maintain the status quo. You believe that your ideologies are mostly aligned, that you have the same values for the most part. It's easy to ignore some of the things that you like, maybe those people just complaining. Maybe like they all like how many of them say black people love to play victim. At least I can say that Candace is consistent in that. She was like, black people love to play victim, even though that's really not the case. It's systemic oppression that you have to consider. But then whenever Jews or Zionists specifically started doing it, you're like, oh, nah, they doing it too. So at least you're consistent. Right? Shit. Sparky, thank you very much for the super chat. Every time anyone says that Israel is our only friend in the Middle East, I can't help but think that before Israel, we had no enemies in the Middle East. U.S. missionary John Sheehan. Yeah, what's crazy is, you know, that our ally in the Middle East before Israel, like to the degree that Israel is right now, our ally, it was Iran. That's who we used to sell weapons to. That's who we used to like. That was until we decided, yeah, fuck them, basically. Make Israel Syria again. In those Ottoman Empire days, Levant Jews got along fine with their neighbors, whether Muslim, Christian, or other. No, that's true. That is very true. Nobody ever really talks about that. How like they always say, oh, look at the Jewish population in these random states, random countries. I'm like, well, the Jewish population diminished because they all got to go to fucking Israel. And if there was beef, it was because of shit that Israel started. There wasn't a problem with, you didn't see, there's a reason that at first you did not see a mass exodus. When you look at these videos of Jewish people arriving to Israel when it first got established, y'all see a mass exodus of Arabs and Desis leaving their countries to go to Israel? That didn't happen until afterwards. I did an Israeli whose grandma didn't speak Hebrew because that's how recently she had come to Israel. She didn't even speak the language. She only spoke Farsi. So, like, yeah. So, my only thing about this UN resolution, before I move on, which we'll never really move on from Israel, my only thing about this UN resolution is there should have been another resolution immediately passed to determine what the consequences would be if Israel were to violate the ceasefire. Because when I tell y'all this shit, I almost lost my mind when I saw this video the other day, or yesterday rather. Almost lost my mind because the first thing I thought of whenever I'm like, damn, that's dope, ceasefire. How the hell they gonna enforce that? I don't see the U.S. enforcing that because they already didn't want to really enforce it to begin with. They just abstained. They didn't want it to happen. And you know what? I was right. I was right to worry about it. I'm gonna pull it up for y'all. This motherfucker. Freezing cold. That's why you know right. There we go. Oh, that's my page. I don't want that one. I wanted a video. Y'all got to see this exchange, y'all. It'll make you lose your mind. So just be prepared.
Extension means that you're okay with it. You're willing to go along with it, and so what do you expect now to happen as a result of the passage of this resolution?
So I think.
Do you expect that Israel is going to announce a ceasefire?
I do not.
And that do you expect that Hamas is going to release
Bruh, start out with I don't believe that shit gonna happen.
hostages?
So I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things that we have objected to for some time is that most of the people that call for a ceasefire, we believe, are calling for Israel to unilaterally stop operations and not calling for Hamas to agree to a ceasefire where they would release hostages.
Well, I think it goes both ways, doesn't it?
It could, but wait. But the resolution today is a non-binding resolution. But
okay, so what's the point?
Well,
why did you abstain? Why didn't you veto?
We didn't veto because we thought the language in it was consistent with something that the language as it relates to the ceasefire and release of hostage was consistent with the longstanding United States position.
So you don't believe anything is going to happen as a result of the passage of this resolution?
So I think that separate and apart from this resolution, we have active ongoing negotiations to try to achieve what this resolution calls for, which is an immediate ceasefire and the release of hostages. I don't know. I can't say that this resolution is going to have any impact on those negotiations. But those negotiations are ongoing. They've been ongoing over the weekend, and they've made progress.
So I don't expect you to answer this now, but to me, you just stick this in your pocket. If that's the case, what the hell is the point of the UN or the UN Security Council?
So we think it plays an important role.
It does.
Even though it plays an important role of us getting our way when we want to read
and that you're going to get what you would like to see, not out of the UN, but out of discussions in Doha.
So we believe it's important that the UN speak and the UN Security Council speak on matters of international security. It's why we've been engaged in this process. It's why we thought we were going to have a successful vote on Friday that Russia and China unfortunately and quite cynically vetoed. But I do.
Yeah, they vetoed it because they wanted a permanent ceasefire. But whatever.
Believe that ultimately, if we were able to achieve a ceasefire, and
so question, y'all. So the resolution just got passed. This was the date that the resolution got passed. This conference was held after. You expecting the fall to announce ceasefire? Nah, not really. Bro, you didn't even think about it. You knew that they were going to violate this resolution. So let's do a little exercise, right? A little mental exercise. Let's just say this didn't happen, not going to happen, but let's just say Russia wasn't on the UN Security Council, didn't have veto power, right? And 14 states all voted that Russia had to engage in a ceasefire with Ukraine. Had to. Right? Okay. Including the US. The US would be one of those states that vote for it, right? Actually, no, the US probably wouldn't vote for it because they want the war. But whatever, let's just say they did. What if the first interview with the Kremlin, they came out like, yeah, nah, fuck that. We ain't doing shit. You think we're gonna honor that ceasefire? You got me. Bruh, would the US allow that shit to just slide without demanding that every single country in the world condemned it? Right? Without having wall-to-wall coverage of just how horrible Russia is. Imagine if it was Russia or China in Taiwan, for example. There isn't a war right now going on between them, but let's just say like that was the case. They're just gonna let it slide. He said so casually, nah, we don't expect them to follow that shit at all. So fuck the international community. Why are we even holding these elections? Why do you feel the need to veto resolutions if they're not even that important? And I saw somebody mention in the comments, it's true. Resolutions technically are non-binding by nature. That is the nature of a resolution. But the whole point of the UN is like, yeah, but if we pass this shit, like you should follow it because the entire international community is basically demanding this of you. And you're a participant in the international community. And the US would once again not allow this type of shit to slide if it was Russia or China, for example. But it's Israel. So yeah, man, they're gonna do what they're gonna do, and we just gonna fuck it. That's crazy. That is crazy. And it's like this isn't getting discussed. This aspect of the ceasefire is not getting discussed enough for my taste. Because the US, once again, is just showing they don't give a shit about international law. They don't care about it. Why does a country like the United States get veto power when they are completely and totally unwilling to enforce the laws, or at least willing to they don't want to whack their finger at Israel whenever a country that they support are violating international laws? Whenever there are resolutions about the countries that they support, saying that they need to stand down, they need to be held accountable. Why does a country like that get veto power? I know everybody, oh, they were one of the most powerful countries in the world. Yeah, they were. We were. The US was. But eventually that little button, the buttons that they be using to add all them numbers up at the Federal Reserve, like just pressing all these numbers and just money just appearing out of nowhere, that's just dead soon. That's not about to be sustained for a long period of time. Y'all know that. The UN is useless. Yeah, basically is what we didn't just learn that, but shit. If you can't stop a country like Israel that's this big from violating a ceasefire, or at least give them some consequences, what is the point? What happens whenever what happens whenever the US just starts violating international law of the world? Well, we know what happens. The UN don't do shit. They don't do shit with the US. They don't do shit with a small country like Israel. Then what are you here for? Why are y'all getting paid? Why are some of my tax dollars going to this international body of nothingness? Giving people like Nikki Haley jobs for what? Nikki Haley ain't did shit to earn a check. And yeah, she was in there just collecting my damn tax. Oh Lord, don't get me started. Yeah. So quick change subject. Y'all know Diddy got his home raided? Like multiple homes raided, actually. Let me pull it up. Let me see if I can find it so I can pull it up for y'all. This article. Sean Diddy Combs. Can't say that us 90s babies didn't see this coming, right? Probably it should have happened way sooner. Look, Sean Diddy Combs has mansion raided by the feds. Authorities were conducting a raid inside a multi-million-dollar home belonging to rapper and record producer Sean Diddy Combs in Holmby Hills neighborhood of West LA Monday afternoon. Homeland Security investigations executed search warrants at the LA mansion, as well as Miami property belonging to Combs. Miami property belonging to Combs. Sources told NBC. The raid may be linked to a possible sex traffic investigation. Another source familiar with the matter told NBC News. The source added 3 Jane Does and 1 John Doe have been interviewed by the Southern District of New York in relation to sex trafficking, sexual assault, and solicitation and distribution of illegal narcotics and firearms related to Combs. This is some shit. Because so Diddy has, I don't know if y'all, for those of you who may not be into the hip hop community and all the drama and the goings on, just the Biggie Small situation, that nobody really got over that, because it's almost certain that the whole beef between Biggie and Tupac that got both of them killed popped off because of Diddy. And when you look at the type of empire that he built after, which was basically an empire of screwing people over, all the puns intended, all of them, I can't imagine that Biggie Smalls would have been okay with the weird shit and all the creep shit that he had to do in order to build this empire on lies and manipulation and weirdo shit. So this is like a pretty consistent, like, well, nobody really mess with Diddy like that. But then you would hear like there was a Cat Williams did a stand-up. Y'all remember Pimp Chronicles? I want to say it was Pimp Chronicles. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he was saying like one of the first things he learned in Hollywood was like, don't go to Diddy's house parties because of the stuff that was going on there. And there've been other comedians to make jokes like this. And then you see shit like this. I'm gonna show y'all this little creepy. I wanna know what y'all opinion on.
48 Hours with Diddy, him and Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but
you can't disclose
a 15-year-old's dream. You know, I have been given custody of him. You know, he signed to Usher. I'm signed to Usher. I had legal guardianship of Usher when you know he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So and we gonna go full crazy.
Full crazy.
Justin, you ever seen
what could you possibly do with a 14, 15 year? You 30 years old, 40. Actually, I think Diddy might be close to 40 in this video. Talking about going full crazy with two 15-year-olds. How you getting custody of people's kids? Yeah, because y'all remember Usher. I think when Usher came in, he was about 16 when he came into the game. Chris Brown, before he released Run It, he was like 14 or 15. Like before he actually got the video and did the music, and like he was already signed. Like these people do get signed young. Rihanna was 15, 16 when she got signed. Like, but you got a grown man getting custody of somebody's kid, and then like this situation with Bieber, bro. Like, look at Bieber's face, dog. Why is he not co-signing?
Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the time of their lives, like you know, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose.
What got the help me face on?
Definitely a 15-year-old.
When he said we can't really disclose, look at his face.
But we can't really disclose. But
he looks at him like
it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream.
Bro, what? What? Nah, bro. Why didn't he let JB talk? Why didn't he let him tell what was going on? So like this stuff like that, and then you got the other videos, a little bit more comedic, but still disturbing.
Saying is like fruity.
That's
the kind of stuff that when people say that to me, I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago, at Chris Lighty's wedding. He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out of no, dude, you take me. That's what a guy says to him.
I asked 50 about that. And he said you did the same thing to him. You asked him to take him shopping.
Yeah. I thought he needed some clothes.
Yeah, I thought he needed some clothes.
What? I'm a nice guy. He says things. He doesn't even know.
Hey, man, I'm going to take you shopping, dog. Like, you a grown man, first of all. That's now if you get into that and you are inviting somebody to spoil them because you are gay, that is fine. But he know 50 ain't gay. And also, this isn't the only person that he's done this to. Also, 50 Cent was rich as hell then, rich as hell now. I'm gonna take you shopping. What? Why don't you? Hey, bro, you trying to chill? Like you want to hang out, dog? Like you cool? You dope? Like let's kick it, and we might go shopping while we're hanging out. That is completely different than, hey man, what's good? Let's hang out. Like I'm gonna take you shopping. What? I ain't never said that to another grown man in my life. Bro, I don't even say that to my nephew, I'm about to take you shopping. I ain't said that to my brother. I said that to my mama. Love my life. I love my mama. You know what I'm saying? I said it to my girl. I won't say that to another grown man in my tax bracket. But like, you start seeing this type of stuff pop up over the years, and in my opinion, what made it so hard to pin Diddy down was the fact that it wasn't like you can get the compilation consistently, and it wasn't enough to expose him. And some people argue that the politicians were protecting him. I mean, given all the Epstein shit that's going down lately, kind of makes sense, right? But now it's the same thing that you kind of saw with Epstein. Like, we got the consistent. They've accrued enough evidence, enough video evidence, enough text messages and emails and things like that. That they're coming after cats now, dog. You know, Cat Williams during his interview with Shannon Sharp brought Diddy up specifically again. It's just in case anybody's like, "No, I'm dead ass serious about the Diddy shit." He brought him up again, and he literally said, "2024 is over for all y'all." He's like, "They're coming after y'all in 2024, letting you know." And what happens? You get that Nickelodeon interview with was it Dan Snyder? We know that ain't even a half. Oh man, I feel so. I would never let my kid be an actor in Hollywood. Never. And I feel like if you allow your child to be an actor in Hollywood, you are a horrible parent. I don't usually judge parents, but you know, we all, especially, I mean, yeah, boys too, but especially if you got a little girl. You are a selfish bastard that is literally throwing your daughter to the wolves if you allow them to be a child star. Right? I'm not talking about TikTok shit. Like, that's different. If anything, thank God for TikTok, right? Thank God for like YouTube and that type of shit where you can actually get famous outside of Hollywood, right? But like, if you just throwing your kid on the first Disney show that throws you up, you are a horrible parent. And you deserve the whatever karma you get, you deserve all of it. Because before, maybe you didn't know, right? We didn't know as much about about the industry as we do now. A lot of it was unconfirmed, right? Now we know all of it. All of it. I don't care how talented your child is. I don't start a YouTube channel. I don't know. Start a YouTube channel. Start a TikTok channel. There's plenty of avenues for them to explore the creative side of your child. But you want to marry Kate and Ashley, these kids? You gonna Macaulay Culkin these kids? Y'all remember Macaulay Culkin was trying to tell everybody what was going on, and they blacklisted that man, and then had the audacity to try to give him a star afterwards and be like, our bad, you were right. Y'all got these kids getting sexually assaulted. And then y'all turn around, and then the checks are going to the parents. You got these kids signing to people like Diddy. And you got the checks going to the parents. What do you think Come on, bro. Come on, bro. When Cat Williams said that shit, like, oh no, they coming for y'all asses, and then his Dan Snyder shit popped up, and then his Diddy shit popped up. It's like, bro, I'm gonna sit back and enjoy the show because, yeah, y'all deserve that shit. All of it. All of it. Sparky, thanks for the super chat. Cat Williams' character, pimp named Slipback, is great on Aaron McGruder's The Boondocks, especially when he plays a marriage counselor for Tom and Sarah. Oh man, yeah. Pimp named Slipback is one of the GOAT characters of all time. It's funny because Cat Williams can play the same character in three different shows, three different types of shows, and it's hilarious every time. But yeah, no, like if you throwing your kids to the wolves, like you deserve to burn in hell. Like, I don't know, because when you see what where like, have you ever looked up a picture of Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen? Y'all remember old boy before he passed away? Boy, he got off, didn't he? Old boy from Full House. What's his name? Savage? Something Savage? Y'all tell me in the comments. I know y'all remember. But America's funniest home videos, motherfucker. Y'all ever see the video like montage of like everybody acknowledging that dude was molesting Mary Kate and Ashley on set, and people were just kind of laughing it off, but everybody knew it was true? So it's like, man, are we actually starting to see some consequences? I mean, Harvey Weinstein got. I mean, they threw him to the wolves. Epstein, consequences relative, I guess. We know he ain't dead, but something happened. Hell, that might be why Israel's losing all this control right now, because they're like, man, if y'all got the Epstein tapes, drop them hoes. That's Israel's kind of like, that's how the PR wave is kind of switched on Israel. A lot of people were like, man, shit, I don't know what they got, man. I don't know what they got, dog. I don't know what they got. And now they're like, you know what? I don't think y'all got them shits anymore. And now everybody switched up. So it seems as if we are starting to see some semblance of accountability. Bob Saget, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Bob Saget. It seems like we're starting to see some semblance of accountability. And what I hope to see is that this, because Diddy is like, in the music industry, Diddy is like one of the top dudes. Like, he might as well be Jewish, the way that he gets protected by the music industry. Everybody knows that. He's gotten away with a lot of shit because of him being Diddy, bruh. And was able to skate by, which is crazy for a black man to be able to get away with the shit that he's been able to get away with. I'm not even gonna lie to you. We don't get that much rope, and he got all the rope. And I hope, bro, I'm just hoping and praying that these victims get justice. And not only do we see them get justice, but that whatever gets exposed with Diddy exposes the entirety of the industry to the point that we see a genuine change in the culture of the music and entertainment industry. Because it has been predatory. It's been predatory. One of the reasons I decided not to be a part of it, I had a contract ready to go. I was rapping. This was before like it was really, really big to like, and you could have a lot of success being independent. Before it was very, very, very difficult. A lot of big venues wouldn't want to work with you, et cetera, et cetera. But like, I was like, nah, bro, I don't want to be part of that shit. People are shiesty as hell, predatory as hell. I would see shit happen with, I got into 2 fights over some shit. Like I was just out and doing rapper shit, and I saw this girl get sexually assaulted. I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And they thought I was going to let it slide. I was like, no, dog, I'm going to have to beat your ass now because I saw it. I've seen it now. It's already happened. But like, they did it so casually because there was other people there and everyone else was acting like it was fucking normal. And that's when I realized, oh shit, this is the industry. Everybody wouldn't let that shit slide if this wasn't the industry. That's where we at with it now, man. I want to talk about Russia real quick. And I want to talk about Julian Assange. And briefly about RFK's just going on a tank mission for his campaign. Or continuing, rather, the tank mission for his campaign. So y'all have y'all seen this weird thing lately? Since the situation with Russia happened, since the attack at the music hall happened, we got 2 different responses from the US. Because everybody knows, first of all, in case you didn't know, Russia's never been attacked by ISIS on Russian soil. We know that, right? The first conclusion that people would naturally assume is that Ukraine was somehow involved, especially because the terrorists now have been confirmed to have been running towards Ukraine, which could have just been a coincidence because they knew shelter, but it's just super, they knew that they would get shelter there, but it's also super weird that ISIS, who we all know it's funded by the US. If you're debating that still, you're a fucking idiot. I don't know what to tell you. But ISIS, was funded by the U.S., is running to Ukraine. That's also funded by the U.S. It's like, why didn't y'all go somewhere else? Like a country that wouldn't accept terrorists. Like, why did y'all run towards Ukraine of all places? Because you know they would not do anything? Whatever. But two things have unfolded. They've had two different sets of statements. We didn't know shit, and we know everything, so we can tell y'all exactly what happened. And also, we warned you. So I guess that's technically three statements. And it's been a little bizarre to watch unfold. First of all, shout out to all my Russians out there, yo. Like, it's what happened was unnecessary. Doesn't really make any sense. They're saying ISIS claimed credit. Of course, ISIS always claiming credit conveniently. And wherever the U.S. wants a regime change, ISIS shows up. Never in Israel, but hey, whatever. That's a different conversation. So the U.S. got some questions to answer, because let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's go show y'all this video.
In early March, the United States, this government shared information with Russia about a planned terror attack in Moscow. We were very clear about that. On March 7th, we actually informed Americans in Russia did a public advisory, to be more specific. And, ISIS bears the sole responsibility here. The sole responsibility, and Mr. Putin understands that. We shared that with their government. And so there is no evidence, absolutely no evidence, that Ukraine was involved here.
That's weird that y'all know that there was no evidence, considering Russian officials came out very, very explicitly saying, we ain't working with the West on shit. They're not getting any of our evidence. We're not exchanging information. None of that. Right? And the U.S. has come out and said, we don't got no information. They've come out and said that. Don't believe me? I'm going to show you. Because the U.S., this, once again, it's like a 2-year-old, bro. Like, you can literally, you know how you catch 2-year-olds in lies, and 3, 4, hell, 5-year-olds, 6-year-olds, kids in general in lies. Ask them the same question more than once. And they're going to lie one time. They're going to tell the truth a different time. They're going to give you part of the truth another time. They just going to tell on themselves. If you let them keep talking, they just going to keep telling on themselves. You're like, okay, now I got the fit. Yeah, you full of shit. Got it. That's the U.S. They can't keep their lies straight when they tell the truth. The truth is so dumb. It's like, bro, I know y'all did not just accidentally tell us the truth because you thought that you weren't going to have to, like, that you were going to be able to lie later, or that you weren't going to have to lie later. Because that's basically what happens. I'm going to show y'all an example right now.
I've also seen, hopefully you saw the State Department, our embassy there, put out a notice to all Americans in Moscow to avoid any large gathering, concerts, obviously shopping malls, anything like that, just for their own safety. They should stay put where they are and stay plugged into the State Department for any additional updates and information. I'm afraid that's really all I have on that.
Thank you. So question, did the U.S. have prior knowledge of this attack in Moscow, given that the U.S. Embassy had issued warning beforehand?
I'm not aware of any advanced knowledge that we had of this terrible attack.
March 8th, the embassy warns of imminent attack in
where are they?
Moscow by extremists.
Yeah, I think that I'll let the State Department speak to that. I think that
I'm not aware of any. What? You were, once again, I'm not aware.
I've also seen, hopefully you saw the State Department, our embassy there, put out a notice to all Americans in Moscow to avoid.
Why are you going to let the State Department deal with it? How are you not aware of it? And your ass is fucking talking. You were the one who gave out the warning. It was you. It was you. Bro, you're wearing the same exact outfit. Same outfit. He's wearing the same exact tie, people. The only difference is he took off his glasses. Maybe he should have put them back on so that he would have known that he already said all the shit. Maybe that was the difference. I don't know. So do y'all not think that it's super weird that, like, the U.S. gave advance warning to U.S. citizens specifically to avoid, like, they were very specific. They weren't like avoid trains, avoid malls, avoid like government buildings. They did like usually you get be careful about a potential terrorist attack. Nah, bro. Like on March 8th, y'all were like, don't go to concerts. Basically, is what they said. Don't go to concerts. Don't go to gatherings like concerts. And then a terrorist attack happens. ISIS claims credit, and y'all like, we didn't know what y'all talking about. We didn't know it was gonna happen. We didn't. How could we possibly know that? Well, y'all said this exact thing was gonna happen. Y'all don't think that's kind of weird? We never said that. Well, why are you trying to blame us? Well, motherfucker, we weren't necessarily trying to blame y'all, but now that you're acting all weird about it, yeah. Now we're a little bit suspicious, I think. Because why I think that they partially freaked out, because it's not like they're not really trying to appease the public. That's not who they're worried about, y'all. I'm being so serious. They're not worried about us. They know that Putin knows that ISIS is funded by the US, because Putin and Russia engage with ISIS all the time in Syria, all the time in Africa, in Iraq. They know who funds ISIS. They're not stupid. Putin is not an idiot. So whenever ISIS claimed credit for it, they're like, this motherfucker's he's gonna know. Well, how do we say it? Like, yeah, the powers that be might have been the ones who planned it, but people like this motherfucker right here, he's like, y'all setting me up. Because I'm the one who said it. I'm the one who told everybody about the warning. I'm the one who gave the very specific warning that you're now telling everyone to pretend didn't happen. I don't know. I thought it was everybody was looking at the naked bitch about to poop. That's what they sound like. So you absolutely didn't know anything that took place, or why it took place, or that it was going on. You didn't have advanced knowledge, but also you did have advanced knowledge. Very specific advanced knowledge that you were very proud of in another video. But also, if you didn't have any knowledge, and you're not working with Russia, because they're not working with you, they've made it very clear once again. Ladies and gentlemen, how do y'all know Ukraine wasn't involved? How can you make an assertive statement like that? How can you make an assertive statement that you know, like with absolute certainty, we know that ISIS is the sole bearer of responsibility here? How the fuck do you know? That's crazy. I didn't know that all of a sudden all U.S. officials were on an internship in Russian intelligence. That's crazy. I feel like I just feel like we're constantly being gaslighted. It's so bad, y'all. They don't even try at this point. Was there no coordination before they went up and gave these fucking speeches? Did these press conferences? I feel like there wasn't. It feel like, hey, like, shit, Biden gonna coordinate? Biden probably didn't know there was a terrorist attack in Russia until about 4 days later. Let's be honest. But how did they get through? How did they get to the border? That's how Putin probably. Oh, matter of fact, let me put on that video real quick. Putin, because he finally gave and you know what? That's why you gotta love Putin, guys. Remember I was talking about earlier in the stream with the Baltimore mayor. I said, if you don't have information, sometimes you have to have the discernment to shut the fuck up. Don't get up here and start talking just because you feel like you gotta say some shit. If you get up here and start talking and you don't say anything, that's a problem. If you get up here and start talking and if you're lying, people are going to figure it out. So if you have to wait for all the facts to come to light, then do it. Damn if people are rushing you. Damn what the mob crowd, like the mob says. Damn what the media said. Like, wait. Just wait. Wait till the facts come out. So, really quick, let me check out this. Sparky, thank you very much for the super chat. Again, the warning the U.S. Embassy in Russia posted on its webpage on March 7th said that it was only for 48 hours. Interesting information. Did not know that.
Benefits. This crime can only be a link in a chain attempts by those who are at war with our country since 2014. The Nazis, the Kiev regime, who never stopped at any means using any kinds of inhuman tactics to achieve their goals, especially now when their so-called counteroffensive has failed, as recognized by everyone. And the Russian armed forces possess the initiative along the entire front line, and no attempts to stabilize the situation for the Ukrainian side have been successful. This has led to their attempts to penetrate our borders and their shellings of Russian civilian infrastructure, including energy infrastructure, their attempts to make strikes at the Crimean Bridge, the Crimean Peninsula. These steps make up a logical sequence of terrorist attacks and attempts to intimidate the Russian society and sow discord. At the same time, to show their own population that the Kiev regime is still strong, that the only thing people need is to obey the orders that come from Washington, fight to the last Ukrainian, and to adopt new orders on mobilization, create youth brigades like Hitler.
This poor translator going through it right now, dog. He going through it. All right, that's it. He going through it.
They used to have, and the money that are being provided for these purposes will certainly be appropriated.
Anyway, so basically, Putin just came out and said, "Yeah, man, whoever had interest in who is to benefit, the crime can only be a link in a chain of attempts by those who are at war with our country since 2014." Who is he referring to, y'all? United States and Ukraine. But he could have left it at Ukraine. So why is it that you got KGJP coming out and being like, Putin knows that it's solely the responsibility of ISIS, and he like, motherfucker, I never said that. No, it's definitely everybody who started the Ukraine conflict in 2014. That's who's responsible. Look now, if he's already reached that conclusion, which means that is a kind of a roundabout way, because if you say the U.S. was involved specifically, now that's a whole different implication, and now people got to start making some decisions on the world stage. But he is letting you know we're very, very close to having solid proof that you were involved. I want you to know that we are already halfway there. I wouldn't have come out, because this is Putin. He don't come out and talk just to talk. He wouldn't have come out and make a statement about the situation, the attack, and who the interests that were involved, unless he was pretty certain about what he was gonna say. So he's like kind of like letting everybody know, hey, just know we on your ass. And whenever the news comes back, and that's why you got the U.S. be like, what? Oh, we don't know. We what? Come on, bro. Wherever there's a regime change, there's an ISIS and there's the U.S. behind it. Shit. Maybe we might actually, for once, see ISIS attack Israel. Now that they want a regime change there. Probably not. But, Israel's, for some reason, even though all the radical extremists around the world want to see Israel wiped off the face of the planet, they never fucking attack Israel. It's super weird. It's a weird coincidence, I guess. I also find it very interesting. It's been about 2 years, right? About 2 years since the Nord Stream pipeline attack, roughly, more or less. And our intelligence has clearly evolved. Obviously, we've made great strides in the U.S. because it's been 2 years and y'all still don't know what happened with the Nord Stream pipeline. Still. But you can say with absolute certainty in an investigation that you did not participate in because your intelligence is that far advanced, I guess, that ISIS was the only responsible party and that it had nothing to do with Ukraine, and that you got all the details about the details that you said you didn't have, but y'all still don't know what happened with Nord Stream, and y'all got way more access to that. That's very interesting, don't you think? They've come such a very, very long way in 2 years, but not long enough to tell us what happened in Nord Stream yet. Not that far. They came so far they can tell you what happened in Russia in a situation they have no part, they didn't take any part in, but not far enough still to tell us what happened with the Nord Stream pipeline. It's just super weird. It's bizarre. Whatever, I guess. I'm just gonna believe that shit. Really quick, an update with Julian Assange. Julian Assange got his appeal approved. However, there is a caveat. So it's an extradition hearing for those of you who are curious. He got his appeal approved, but there's a caveat that unfortunately the U.S. has 3 weeks to provide evidence or assurances, reasonable assurances that Julian Assange will not be harmed if he was extradited. So if somehow the U.S. can provide those reasonable assurances, then it's like the appeal won't be awarded. It's a conditional appeal, which I did not know was a thing. I've never heard of it because I feel like that should have been something provided. Because for the appeal to have been approved, they would have had to one of the what's the word I'm looking for? The basically one of the requirements for that to happen was that there had to be evidence that Julian's life was in danger, and they were able to substantiate that. And that's what the whole hearing was for. So like why the US is getting 3 more weeks to provide something they should have provided today or yesterday? No, today. I don't know why. But really quick, I want to check out Nick from RBN, his video that he did for Hotspot, just about this and general background for those of you who need a refresher.
Julian Assange was granted permission to appeal his extradition to the United States. This case has huge implications regarding free speech and freedom of the press, as we have the United States charging an Australian journalist with the Espionage Act for exposing their war crimes. In every step of the way, this has been a glorified show trial to justify the persecution of Julian Assange. Did you guys know it's against UK law for them to extradite someone to a country where they know they won't get a fair trial and the country wants them dead? How about the CIA under Mike Pompeo and Donald Trump drawing up plans to assassinate Julian Assange? And in this trial, the evidence of the CIA plotting to kill Julian Assange wasn't allowed to be presented. You would think that this is important to the case, right? But no, the UK court was like, the CIA wanting to kill Julian Assange has nothing to do with Julian Assange's safety. Yes, that's an argument that the High Court made with a straight face. Another argument the High Court made with a straight face is that they said the United States robbed Julian Assange of his freedom of expression and won't be able to give him a fair trial. But we're still going to extradite him anyway if you can provide safety assurances. Don't forget, the case against Julian Assange completely fell apart when a key witness used by the State Department admitted he lied in order to get immunity. We also had the CIA that was illegally spying on Julian Assange and his lawyers, which robbed him of his attorney-client privilege. Despite all the holes in the Julian Assange case, and the chilling implication for freedom of the press, you have the High Court that essentially said that they're down to extradite him to the United States as long as the United States don't give him the death penalty. The Julian Assange case exposes the West more than any other. We have war criminals that are not in prison, but they're spending their time going after the person who exposed their crimes.
Amen. That boy was spitting. But yeah, 100%. It's ridiculous. The extradition shouldn't happen. We know that, but you know, I'm trying to stay positive. You know, it's very easy to become nihilistic and negative and pessimistic, but I do believe in positive vibes. I do believe in speaking these into fruition, and I'm hoping and praying that somehow, some way, somebody has the balls to do the right thing in this situation with Julian Assange. Somebody has the balls to see what this means for the future of journalism. What this means for future extradition hearings, like the fact that we got, they're about to extradite a man for breaking a U.S. law, allegedly, right? But then at the same time, they don't want to assure him, they don't want to give him assurances that his U.S. rights, if he was a citizen of the U.S., would be respected and protected during a court hearing. Like, oh, the First Amendment doesn't apply to him because he's Australian, but we can extradite him. We have the authority to extradite somebody who isn't our citizen, by the way, through a country that ripped him out of an embassy because he's not their citizen either, an embassy that was protecting him. But we're not going to give him the protective rights. But we want to charge him how we want to, but we're not going to protect him how he needs to be, which is bullshit. So I'm trying to stay positive, y'all. I really am. The man needs to be reunited with his family. It's sad, bro. It's sad. Beyond the journalism thing, we already know the free speech, free press. We know about all that, but like for him as a man, for his family, bro, he's missed so much time with his, because it wasn't just. It's been 7-8 years, and man hasn't lived in his own house longer than that. It's too much, bro. He built different. Julian, the fact that he's still alive, even the last time we saw him, like he was doing a thumbs up in court, like, bro, like, and they're putting him through hell and Belmarsh, and still he's staying positive. Like, dog, I don't know how he's doing it. I really do not. I wanted to talk to y'all really quick for my final segment about what the hell is that? Like, bro, RFK needs to just quit. He needs to just stop running. You're not taking this Kennedy seriously anymore. Like, you had a solid. He hasn't really done anything noteworthy. He's been like self-sabotaging his own campaign since he announced he was going independent, which is bizarre. Right? Obviously, the Israel-Palestine conflict is a big part of that. The fact that you let Dennis Kucinich walk because of that, like, you don't want to listen to the guy, your friend, one of your best friends, Dennis Kucinich, who's telling you and educating you on the Israel-Palestine issue. You want to listen to fucking dick face Rabbi Shmuley. You want to listen to pube face Rabbi Shmuley. Rabbi Shmuley looks like he just took a big like bucket of Elmer glue and just glued his pubes on to his face. That's what he looks like. But he didn't have enough to glue on to cover all of it. And basically what we see now is the final result of incomplete work. That is like, why? And then to replace Dennis Kucinich, he brought in his daughter-in-law, who coincidentally happened to meet his son right before he announces that he's going to run for president officially. Oh, by the way, his daughter-in-law, who was a spy who has her own show, talking about her celebrity super spy life. That's who's running his campaign now, allegedly. And now his damn VP announcement, like, a lot of people thought he was going to pick Trump. Oh, no, excuse me. People thought he was going to be a threat to Trump and pick somebody that would maybe, like, Tulsi said she wouldn't do it. And a lot of people pick Tulsi because they're both horrible on this Israel-Palestine issue. But she brings other people, but like they kind of align on a lot of other issues. So like it didn't even make sense to bring her. She wasn't going to take any votes away from anybody. But they thought it was going to be Tulsi or somebody else that was going to be a threat to Trump. And now everybody's like, bro, you done. Just quit. Like, why are you still taking all this damn money at this point? Even his own people, I can tell you for a fact, his own people are saying that. Own people are saying that, y'all. Who the RFK Jr. names attorney Nicole Shanahan as his VP pick? Who the fuck? Who's Nicole Shanahan? You're not taking it seriously. Oakland, California, independent presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced Tuesday that Nicole Shanahan, a wealthy attorney and entrepreneur in the San Francisco Bay Area, will be joining his campaign as his vice presidential selection. Shanahan, who like Kennedy has never run for elected office, has contributed to his campaign and his super PAC. Kennedy made the announcement during the event. That was today. The news broke today. I don't know if I'm going to call it breaking news. It's more like it was kind of bending. It wasn't really breaking anything. In explaining his decision, Kennedy said he wanted to choose a young athlete from a diverse background as his running mate and touted Shanahan's experience in tech and advocacy. I'm confident there is no American more qualified to play this role than Niko. I'm confident that there's hundreds of Americans. Well, you should have called up Kashama Sawant. Now, obviously, with your pro-Palestine position, she won't go and accept that. But maybe she could have changed her mind. I don't know. But dear God, how out of touch with your own base you got to be. And his base gives him chance after chance after chance after chance. Bro, his base loves him. They're trying so hard to stay on a board. They're trying so hard to stay with him. And it's like he's trying to lose. It's the most frustrating shit in the world to see. Because when he announced his presidential campaign, dude was polling at like 20% in some places, in some demographics. He still might be qualified for it, but he was qualified for the debate stage already by the criteria for the general election. He has so much momentum. Then his Israel-Palestine shit happened, and he never recovered. In fact, he went the wrong fucking way. I might have stopped supporting him just for being friends with Robert Smalley because he's that much of a fucking asshole. I hate Robert Smalley. He's just an awful person. Selling his daughter's sex toys. Like, that's perfectly normal. I don't know what he's doing, y'all. And it's sad, dog, because I'm one of the people that's got behind him because of the work he did during the pandemic. Because I lost somebody. I lost a couple people because of what happened during the pandemic. We're not going to get into it right now because we already know what time it is on YouTube. But that was one of those black or white issues for me. I'm not really a one issue voter, but that issue will make me stop from not vote for you. That issue will make me stop voting for you. Maybe I will think about it and I'm like, nope, won't do it because I lost somebody. I almost have never been a one issue voter, but then something superseded that. Genocide. My personal issue don't really matter that much anymore. It matters to me, but like Jesus Christ, if you're not going to fight for kids getting bombed into oblivion, I don't really have the confidence you're going to fight for me, or at least you're not going to make the decisions that need to be made when you need to make them. In the face of threats, in the face of lobbying, in the face of the system trying to manipulate you to get the result that they want, I don't believe you're going to do that because you can't even defend children getting bombed. And then the guy, bro, RFK Jr. is actually a brilliant man. That's what makes it even more disgusting. He's brilliant. He was like, and on Ukraine, he got the information, corrected course. Like, nah, this is easy. Nah, fuck that. This is U.S. is involved. 2014, made in cool. Got it immediately once he got the information. And because I don't expect anybody who kind of comes out of nowhere and runs for president to be expert on foreign policy. I usually give a little bit of leeway on foreign policy, a little bit less on domestic policy. And to be fair to RFK Jr., excellent on domestic policy. And actually, there's a good chance that maybe outside of Cornell West, and maybe even more than, because like RFK actually had like a very detailed plans on how to work with the Black community. And he wasn't just interacting with the elite. He was like interacting with everybody. I got to give RFK Jr. that. I got to give him that because he was surprisingly proactive in engaging with the Black community, even when the cameras were off. So I'll give him that. Domestic, cool. But bro, Dennis Kucinich is your campaign manager at the time. At the time. And yet you still got Israel-Palestine right. And when you're looking at his responses every time he gets challenged on the issue, all of a sudden that let me educate myself shit went out the window. That is not accidental. That, sir, is deliberate. That is deliberate. You're choosing to remain ignorant because somebody somewhere told you you got to. Somebody told you, like, bro, it's almost as if he doesn't want to win anymore. It's what it seems like. Like he learned something that, like, I'm not trying to do this. Maybe he got the call. And let's not get it twisted, guys. The CIA killed his parents, killed his dad, killed his uncle. He is fully aware. Like at this point, it's almost certain that the Mossad was involved. So he knows Israel was involved in the assassination of his family. But like, my problem is you knew this before you ran. So maybe he thought that there was going to be a like, maybe he just like, okay, Israel Palestine, I'm just going to not address it, because that's what usually happens, right? During elections, it just doesn't get fucking addressed, except for maybe one resolution that gets introduced because something pops off for a week and a half, 100 people die, everybody ignores it after that. That's generally what happens during elections. So maybe he believed that he could hold off on addressing Israel Palestine until, yeah. But like, fast forward, he's got upward momentum, the likes of which we have probably never seen for an independent candidate. Like, just by all metrics, fundraising, everything, fundraising, polling, qualify. I hate to refer to an issue of a genocide as a layup issue, but when I say it's a layup issue, I'm saying like, bro, being against genocide is the most non-controversial fucking stance you could possibly take. And now you look like a real idiot because now the Democrats that you were supposed to be running to the left of are outflanking you on Palestine. So all that shit you did to make it look like, well, I'm not radically different than them, like on Israel and Palestine. I'm not supporting radical extremists. I'm reasonable. Now you look like an idiot because they figured it out before you did. You still out here hanging out with Dick Pube Face, Robert Smuley. That's who you hanging out with. Even Chuck Schumer figured it out before you. AOC's dumbass figured it out before you did. And they're in a party where it's required for them to kiss Zionist ass. You're running as an independent and you ain't figured it out yet. Maybe at first it was a strategy. It was an immoral one, but it was a strategy that you thought you had to pursue. Now it's hurting you. And you're like, yeah, man, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna keep hanging out with Shmuley. But also I'm gonna have some random woman, this random wealthy attorney, be my VP that nobody knows and no one cares about. Despite having, bro, you hired, look, you know what the problem is, right? And I don't know this for a fact, but I can say with pretty good level of confidence, RFK had a list of friends, compatriots, politicians who would have been willing to be his VP. He burned the fucking bridges. Nobody wants to be seen with somebody who hangs out with Dick Face, Pube Face, Smuley. Like, proudly. You hanging out with Mr. Sells his daughter's sex toys? That guy? Nah, I'm good on that one, bro, but good luck. Even if you were pro-Israel, like, but you know, every group got the outcasts. Every group got their, even Smuley's like the worst spokesperson for Zionism ever. He was not like, look, man, look, I kind of agree with you on Israel, but Smuley, nah, I'm good. But let me know how it works out for you. With Dick Face, Pube Face, sex toy selling Smuley. How can you get so much right, bro? Your problem is the same thing I used to tell my dog, y'all, and my cats. I said, you know, you get in trouble. Some cats probably wouldn't get in trouble if you got caught doing something wrong. Even some dogs, they don't know no better, like the small dogs. They don't know no better. The problem is you already showed me how fucking smart you are. You already showed me you know how to get to the right side of the issue, bro. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has been damn near flawless on environmental issues, flawless on medical freedom, transparency, almost flawless on the majority of domestic issues, amazing on indigenous issues, amazing on Black issues. His advocacy as an attorney is spotless. You were figuring out on almost all foreign policy issues. You get to Israel and Palestine, and you got, huh? What? I don't know what you're talking about. What? Those are terrorists. What? Hold up. What? No. What happened to peace? What happened to peace policy? What happened to all that peace talk? Now it's let's bomb the brown people and you're going to justify it no matter what Israel does? Like, people have asked him pretty like, okay, so what would be the limit for you? Well, I believe in Israel's rights to defend themselves. Bitch, we're not talking about that right now. What's the limit? Where is the limit for you? Well, I believe Israel has the right to defend themselves. No. Damn that. Fine. You can believe that. What's the limit? And what do all these people have in common? They won't say what the limit is because they are told not to. And he will not talk to Max Blumenthal. He's been offered. There's a lot of people that offer. There's people in his campaign that have tried to sway him, y'all. Y'all have no idea how many people left. No idea how many people left, dog. One of my really good friends was great friends with Dennis Kucinich. And was just like, dog, that's it. That was a death sentence for his campaign. It was a death sentence for his campaign. So many people tried to move RFK on this issue, y'all. So many people left his campaign, left volunteering for his campaign because they're like, yo, my guy, I don't know what you want me to do. I support you on 95% of everything else. Bro, if this Israel-Palestine issue didn't pop out, I promise you I was going to vote for, well, I don't know if I was going to vote actually for president because that's whatever. But because I just wanted an independent to do something, I'm like, well, shit. I mean, this is the issue that matters the most to me right now. This is before Palestine Israel popped off. I promise you he was going to get up my vote over Cornel West after that shit that Cornel pulled. I ain't going to lie to you. I promise you. And then when he got it wrong the first time, I was like, all right, man, let me just give him some time. Let me give him some time to get it right because he was not necessarily around the Ukraine issue at first. Then he changed. So let me give him some time. Then he doubled down. And it got worse. And he was going to release a statement. I'm going to do some research and I'm going to write this article about it. This 5-page, blah, 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 100 pages. Blah, blah. Then he never did it. And we was like, okay, so what the fuck? I can't support genocide, bro. I don't know what you want me to tell you. I know what happened in my personal life, and you were great on that issue, but that does not give me license to vote for genocide. And the friend of Dick fucking Pube Face Smooly. That alone is disqualifier. You can't have somebody like that as a friend in your life, and I'm vote for you. That means you make bad life choices, which definitely means you make bad political choices. Definitely. Come on, man. This has been a shit show. Shout out to Jill Stein for maintaining her goddamn sanity. That's Madam Consistency right there. Thank God for Jill Stein because Lord knows. Lord knows. It's been rough. It's been a rough election season. Not the elections, they got their place, but it ain't end all be all. But Lord Jesus Christ, you like every time you think somebody is gonna have some integrity, yo. I don't mind if you're wrong. That's not my main issue. My issue is when you're fucking wrong on purpose and everyone knows it, and you're still trying to pretend like you're not. Like, oh, this is I definitely came to this conclusion on my own. No, the fuck you did. No, you didn't. You came to the conclusion to make Nicole Shanahan attorney at law from the Bay Area, California. You're VP. That was your decision. You're like, yeah, that's definitely she's the most qualified person to be the VP. I mean, you don't do shit as VP, so maybe I don't know. It isn't really hard. That's a big threshold. That's a hard threshold. It isn't a big burden that you have to. So I guess by that metric, everyone who was over the age of 35 is qualified to be VP equally. So technically, I guess he wasn't lying. You got Marianne Williamson, the fucking Zionist. You got the people who thought Marianne Williamson was she was worse than RFK. She's absolutely worse than RFK Jr. That's the crazy part. There were people who were coming at RFK Jr. and that bitch is worse than him. It's like she's as bad on Israel and worse on domestic policy. And bro, her foreign policy just depends on which day you ask her, I guess. We never fucking know. Cornel West, Lord, man, I got a lot of respect for Dr. West, man. His ego's gotten out of goddamn control. He was attacking RBN because they held him accountable, as they should. I don't know what the hell his plans were. Sound like he was trying just as hard to sell a book. Like, it's frustrating as like, bro. Like, you're attacking Jimmy Dore. Anyone who challenged you when we were doing our jobs at first, you were thinking this, oh, you should challenge us. Then we start challenging you, like, nah, fuck that. Can't challenge me. That's crazy. Why would you do that? Biden is Biden. Trump is Trump. Like, bro. And y'all see why I'm a little bit about them. Like, I don't know how we got this bullshit. Everybody's like, what Tulsi said in an interview. I think Trump has learned his lesson on the administration going to pick. Okay, all right. Good luck. Mr. Warp Speed, Mr. Operation Warp Speed, that guy. He still won't link up with Steve Bannon. The only person who was actually somewhat reasonable in his campaign, who was like, no, we're going to try to run a populist campaign. We're going to be anti-war. We're going to call out wars like Iraq and all that shit. Like, nope, still won't have him in the White House. And I don't like Steve Bannon, but Steve Bannon was more anti-war than John Bolton. Like, and I would have loved for Tulsi to be Trump's VP and moved him in a more anti-war stance in the past. Now, shit, she don't sound no different. She saber rattling on China. She saber rattling. Well, she still was okay on Russia. But her Israel-Palestine stance just let me know, like, your personal views about whatever, like personal religious views, culture views, whatever, that intervenes. Your loyalty to the U.S. military interferes with your logic. It didn't used to, but that really probably was depending on the people that were around you. You used to keep great people around you. And then you got a bunch of people around you that are affirming everything you want to believe, and it makes you feel good. So you just keep repeating the dumb shit that they're saying. You were a leader, which is what I admire most about Tulsi, even when I disagree with her. But now it's like she's fucking clearly a follower. It bothers the shit out of me. So, like, where the fuck are we going, y'all? I don't know. The fact that everyone, for the most part, on both sides is starting to come together on this Israel-Palestine issue is the only thing keeping me going right now. The fact that everybody is starting to realize the U.S. is full of shit, the empire is full of shit, regardless of the party, is the only thing keeping me going right now. Because these bro, I'm tired of it. I'm exhausted, y'all. I'm exhausted. But, hey, I'm going to keep it positive, man. I got a son now. So I got to try. We got to try, man. We got to try to fucking fix this shit. So y'all keep looking for truth, seeking truth, spreading truth, and don't stop talking about Palestine. Do not stop talking about Palestine. Do not stop talking about it. Do not stop talking about Julian Assange. But do not start talking about Palestine. It's working. It's literally like we saw people who were saying 2 weeks ago, what do you mean ceasefire? What do you mean genocide? 3 days ago, they just flipped and act like they were always against genocide. Like they were always calling it out. It's because it's working. They're trying to ban TikTok because it's working. Because y'all decided the issue was more important than bipartisanship, than ego, than all that shit. It's working. So don't stop talking about it. And I'm so glad that we're finally all starting to get on the same page with these issues, y'all. I really am. I can't really stress that enough. Ukraine, Russia, regime change, ISIS, imperialism. Even, like I said, even a lot of my conservatives are starting to understand what's really going on, and they're starting to see the bullshit that's going on in their community. So we're going to let that simmer. We're going to see who comes out alive. We're going to see who evolves from that situation. And so I feel like at least maybe not the leaders might be getting worse. Okay, yeah, that's definitely true, 100%, unfortunately. But the people, they're starting to get it. And movements are not made up of leaders. They're made up of people. Made up of y'all. That's how we get the shit done. They got to be scared of the people. And that's where we're finally arriving to that point. So we're just going to keep on pushing. We're going to keep on educating the masses, right? Thank you all so much for tuning into this live stream segment For the People podcast. Make sure I like this video. Make sure I share this video. If you want to support, you can support it through Patreon. The link is in the description. Cash App, Bitcoin, all that good stuff. You can also subscribe to my Telegram in the description for breaking news updates and all that good stuff. So, and make sure y'all do that. Subscribe to Hotspot or follow Hotspot. Subscribe on YouTube, but also follow Hotspot on Twitter, on Facebook if you have it. What else am I missing? I think that's everything. Other than that, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.